all this talk I've done on this channel, and I realized I never told y'all how I even became the abstinent bachelorette. Well, city streets. I was flooring the streets, the highways, driveways, and the corners. I was a hoe. There was a time I had given myself away too easily. By 2004, I'd had sex with over 100 men. Didn't matter who they were, how they looked, what they had. I didn't have a type. If you liked me, we could have sex. If you didn't like me, we could have sex. If I didn't like you, we could have sex. It did not matter. I carried this false sense of power for several years. I was chasing validation. I confused attention for affection. It made me feel good. I climaxed several times a day. I had no plans on stopping that whatsoever. With all the sticking and moving and bobbing and weaving I had been doing, I hit a point where I was tired, disconnected from my own soul. I'd had countless sexual encounters, protected, and a couple were unprotected. And that's because these Negroes slipped the condom off. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. And I was trifling, so I could have definitely had diseases. However, one of these incidents I had was my wake-up call. So I met this guy through a neighbor, and he was selling puppies, and he was really, really sweet, and he was like, "Oh, you're so cute. Can I holler at you?" So we're talking, and I didn't mind it because, like I said, I'd already been talking to all these different people, but he seemed like he was about his business. But I don't know, something just didn't sit right with me with him. He had picked me up after he had gotten me a puppy, which I thought was so sweet. He took me to his house. I met his mama. I'm like, this dude moving fast. He actually likes me. So I was like, oh, okay. Fed me everything. And then later on that night, of course, I had to have sex with him, which I should have known. I should have known, but it was nothing to get down and dirty with you, lick ears, backs of nasty necks and ears, and suck some stuff, doing something strange for some change all the time. So I was on my knees or on my back in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But for some reason, with this dude, it was a little weird. And I just couldn't put my finger on what the problem was. You know, we kissed a little bit, and fingers and hands are going in places. Pulled my clothes off. He pulled his off. Then he tried to penetrate. I don't know what it was that made me keep on trying to stop him, because I was open game. But I could not do it with this dude. Couldn't do it. And I didn't know why. I kept on trying to push him up. He's like, what's wrong? I'm not going to hurt you. I was like, I know. I just don't feel right. And he was like, well, we can take our time. But he kept on trying to penetrate. You know, pre-ejaculation is still pre-ejaculation. And I could feel like a little bits of it. He got a little frustrated and was like, okay, I'm going to take you home. And I'm still confused as to like what my own problem was, because I got it in all the time. Get home, call him the next day. He's very distant, didn't really want to talk. And then just slowly but surely just stopped talking to me altogether. Ghosted me. Fast forward, my little brother found out I had been talking to the dude. So he came and talked to me, and he had this worried look on his face, sat me down. You were talking to such and such? And I was like, yeah, why? And he was like, you were talking to him, or did you have like dealings with him? I'm like, my little brother don't talk to me like that. We never had a conversation like that. So I'm just kind of like looking at him like, why you need to know it? Why you all in my business like that? And did you have sex with him? And I was like, no, but I did let him stick tip me in. And he started like kind of crying. And I was like, what the is wrong with you? What is wrong? Because I'm like, I'm getting all this third degree questions that you've never done. He tells me, well, you know, such and such, which is basically my neighbor's cousin. And he said, well, you know, she has AIDS. I was like, okay, what does that got to do with me? He said, well, she used to date him, and that I know of, he has AIDS too. So you need to go get checked. And so I'm looking like, you are lying. And he was like, I'm not lying. And he was crying. I am in full panic now, full panic mode. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm terrified. I'm like, life done caught up to you now. Look at that. Look at you. Look at you. You about to die now. And I'm like, I was always worst case scenario, always. I talked to my pastor and told her what I had done. The guy I dealt with having AIDS. So she tells me about a clinic that I can go to. I immediately went. I had to take an AIDS test. And that was the longest wait I think I've ever done for anything in my life. And I'm abstinent now, 20 years, going on 21 years. And that little wait was hyper long, super long. I was called and told that I needed to come in so that I could discuss my test results. When I heard stuff like that, that meant something was wrong. And you have whatever that problem is. That's what that meant. Because to me, why can't you just tell me over the phone? I get to the office, I am shaking in my boots. I'm sitting in the waiting room, and then they call my name. I am taken to my own room to sit and wait for the doctor. They put my medical record in the cubby on my door and told me the doctor would be in with me shortly. And so I'm sitting there, shaking, terrified, praying back. God, please don't let me have nothing. Please, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die, and I know I'm going to die if I have this disease. I know I'm going to die. All of a sudden, I hear footsteps walking to my door, and I hear them pick up the folder. I could hear two voices, and I could hear them discussing my record. And I could hear them saying, oh, she has AIDS. She has it. All loud in the hall, talking about my personal business in the hall where other people can hear. So now the doctor comes into the room. I am pissed because I can hear you in the hall talking about me. So I'm just looking at him like, I could murk you right now, just jump off this table and jump on you. But he comes in smiling. He was like, okay, Miss Bell, you look good. You're free to go. And I was like, wait a minute, what? What did you just say? He was like, okay, Miss Bell. He said, your record looks good. You're free to go. You just got to be careful with what you do and who you do it with. And I'm looking at him like, I just heard you talking about me in the hall. And this is what I was thinking. And he's looking at me like, what is the problem? Most people are happy when they hear this. Your AIDS, your HIV test is clean. And so I start crying. And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, I heard you in the hall tell the other doctor that I have AIDS. He was like, you didn't hear me? I said, yes, I did. I heard you and another doctor in the hall. He was like, ma'am, I'm the only doctor here. There's no other men here. I'm it. And I was like, I heard you. He was like, ma'am, you did not hear me. And your record, he was like, read it, look. Your record is clean, you're fine. So I don't know what I heard or who I heard, but I heard two men in the hall talking about me and signing my death sentence. I heard it. Clear as day. I have broken down now. Not only do I have a clean bill of health, but he probably thinks now I got to sign you up for the mental ward because you're hearing things. So I hugged him so tight. And I started crying. I was like, oh my God, I've been given another chance because I should be dead. So I went home. I called my pastor and told her about the doctor's visit and the fact that I heard these men. And she told me, that's spirits, honey. That's spirits you are hearing and dealing with. Please stop having sex with all these men because you are joining yourself with people who are joining themselves with other people. And now all these spirits are floating around. you're half gone because of these men you have had sex with. That is when I woke up. I'd stopped having sex. And I didn't want to, but I did. And by this time I was going to beauty school, and I had a friend, my classmate. I told her a little bit of what I went through, but I was not going to go all the way into it because I was afraid and ashamed, and I wasn't going to tell anybody else what I was dealing with. And she was like, we got to get you together. We got to get you all the way together. And I didn't know how to do it. So she had given me this book called A Knight in Shining Armor. And basically the book was a love letter to us ladies from God. Basically, him telling us who we are, letting him wine and dine us, showing us that we are worthy and that we are loved in his eyes. And no one's going to treat us like he is. He is our first love. So in this book, you basically promise to stay away from men for 6 months. It's a 6-month reconstruction where you let the Lord do his thing in your life. I said, okay, so I'll do it. 6 months should be nothing. I'll do it. So I chose abstinence. If I can just hold out for these 6 months, I think I'm going to be fine. Well, the 6 months turned into 20 years and counting. So the shift came when I learned that abstinence is not emptiness. Learning to know what love is without having to be seen or touched. I learned that God is real and that he takes vows seriously. Because actually, when I signed that covenant, I wasn't trying to just be abstinent. I wasn't trying to do this. My plan after the 6 months was to start back to bobbing and weaving, sticking and moving. That's what I wanted to do, but no, God has a purpose for me. I don't believe in settling anymore. And I have yet to have a man approach me that's been worth it, because every last one of them have looked for sex. That's me settling. I don't want you. Now, maybe one's going to approach me and he'll probably be about sex too. And maybe I'll be the person to turn him around. I don't know. I'm not looking for a project though. I'm not looking to build a bear. But here I am, still maintaining, still staying the course to do what right now I feel a big part of my purpose is. To help encourage other men and women who think their bodies, what's between their legs, is all it is that's to them. And it's not. So my body is now a temple. It is not a transaction. I know what sex is now in comparison to my value. You can't wait me out. So I invite you to just try it. What will it hurt if you just tried it? You're trying everything else. Ain't you tired? You're one of those people that's been used and tossed to the side like the booty of the bread. And despite knowing better, you are unexplainably drawn to what is hurting you. Did it rip you to shreds? You can start over. Let this be your point of clarity. People gonna show you all the time who they are. Believe me. So if you've enjoyed this video, subscribe to me. Come chill.